Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy DC coming back with another bullseye of a video here today. I want to show y'all how to get smooth blended R&B style vocals. So we're gonna be mixing a vocal stack as well as showing y'all how to get vocals to really sit in the bushes. You know, like that one meme of Homer Simpson while he was in the bushes, he was ducked off in the bushes. That's what we're gonna do here today. If y'all like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. You wanna support the channel, well, check the links, and in the comments, let me know what you think. All right, so let's get to it right now.
Carry on your love through the way. You ain't got no time to waste. I know it takes a little patience, but be patient with me. I know it takes a little resistance, but just wait on me, yeah. Yeah. Baby, don't be scared. True love will carry on your love. Yeah. Baby, don't be scared.
So that's what I wanted to showcase for you guys. All right, that's the first thing I wanted to showcase was like this vocal stack right here. So specifically for this part, you hear that, you know, there's a smooth transition between the actual verse. That's why I played the whole thing in context. So that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that when you're an engineer, it's like you're a director, all right? And that you're pretty much directing a movie, all right?
Me, yeah. Yeah.
So we all know when you have a director who's directing a movie, he's got that movie thing cut. You know what I mean? He's telling them when to start, when to stop. He's leading the whole production. So pretty much you're telling a story when you're a mix engineer, like you're around a campfire, and you got to make sure that the story makes sense. There's no holes in the story. You don't want there to be a hole in the mix. And sometimes that could happen if things are not properly leveled. So when you have a vocal stack, the very first thing you want to know is control. You want it to be dynamically controlled. Just like how my lead vocal is solid, I want to make sure that when my vocal stack happens, which is these three vocals all coming together, that things will remain consistent and not sound like a jump between the two things. So that comes down to a bunch of things. The very first thing is a limiter. So actually what we're going to do is we're going to bypass the whole thing. It's going to sound wild. It's gonna sound wild as fuck, but you know the auto-tune, right? Sometimes my auto-tune might be the same, sometimes it might be different, but this one I want it to gel together like Vaseline. You feel me? I want it to gel together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and be one whole thing that sticks together in the bag, all right? So that's why, you know, I did some hard panning. You know, sometimes I might do inside panning, sometimes I might do hard panning. But I already understand as a director how I wanted my movie to be, and I wanted this to just be like a smear type of peanut butter jelly sandwich vocal stack. So the first thing we were doing was panning, all right? And that in itself creates a little bit of separation. All right, so I think that's how I had it. I don't even remember how I had this shit, bro. But most importantly, though, you see what's going on here, though, right? The panning is giving that little bit of separation. Then, you know, you use EQ to provide a little separation. So this one right here doesn't have any EQ, right? I was just doing some wacky shit to kind of get everything to separate. All right, so these two sisters are connected by the fact that they're both the panning sisters, but then these two cousins are connected by the fact that they have the same EQ move. Well, I actually think, yeah, one has a filter and one doesn't, you know? Then I kind of gave them a little bit of difference, like one cousin that has a crooked eyebrow and the other one that has a straight eyebrow by the slope of the filter. So that's how I'm getting things to blend but separate. Because if you put it on all the same settings, it's just going to completely, you're not going to be able to tell the distinction. I want it to be like the peanut butter jelly sandwich, where when I take the bread off the top, I can see the peanut butter, I can see the jelly, I can see the whatever the other shit is on the sandwich. You feel me? I can see, even though everything's connected, I still want to see the layers. All right. So first plugin we have is a Pro Q, and I just wrote off some low end because when they come together, they will build up a low end. And I did not want to rip off all of the high end, so I did a shelf to dim down the high end. So when you use a filter on the top end, just know it's like you're ripping out the light bulb out the socket. There's not going to be any more light. But when you do a shelf, it just ever so slightly tones it down.
Yeah.
All right, and to get things to really pinch together, like your grandma, when she sees you at the family reunion, you know, pinching your cheeks, your grandma, your auntie, I use the RVOX. And mostly I think the RVOX is just gonna give it a bunch of volume too, by the way. So
Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na. Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na. Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na. Yeah.
So yeah, you guys aren't really gonna get much out of hearing the AB for that. But at that point, we use the doubler, and I don't know what I like about the doubler. I seen Tizio use it, but I know that I don't know. I just like the mid channel. I don't know what I like about the mid channel, but I just like it. I like scooping out hella mids and stuff like that. Kind of like what I did right here, you know, scooping out lows and stuff like that, and then like using the doubler to give like a fake mid range.
Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na. Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na. Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na. Yeah.
All right. So at that point, now we're gonna dynamically control it using the limiter. So when you have these three vocals coming together, you know, at the family reunion, sometimes the room can get crowded. If you got a bunch of people in your living room, sometimes the space gets tighter than it was to be if it was only just you, like that one vocal all by itself. So I use the limiter, right, to just kind of control the overshoots when the ooh start to pile up and build up, the water starts rushing like a vocal hurricane, a vocal flood. You know, I want to make sure that I got a sandbag there to control it. All right, so that's why I'm finding myself using this Faraday limiter, and I'm doing a couple dBs, but because it's a fast attack and release, you can't really hear it. You just hear the control.
Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na. 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 Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na.
So that's a great way to build that wall of sound for those R&B vocals. And I use a soothe just because, you know, there's going to be some harshness probably building up.
Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Na, na, na. Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na. Yeah.
So yeah, so we're doing it. And after that, we use the Spectre, and I use the warm mode on the I don't know, this is a great plugin. You know, I felt like the stacks were not cutting through at that point, so that's what I used. I used the Spectre to boost up this character range right here, then just to give it a little bit of sweet high end. Different plugins have different sounds of high end, and I like this tube high end. It sounds very smooth. You want more of that ooh rather than ooh, where it would be a little bit more brittle and harsh if I use something like Fresh Air right here.
Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na. 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 Yeah. Ooh.
Now that ooh at the top and ooh, now it has like a crystally type of texture to it, and that's all to the credit of the warmth part. Okay, so after that, you know, because I boosted this, I still wanted to be controlled, right? Because, you know, I've got it controlled right here, but then the fact that I did that boosting EQ, right? Now is, you know, things might the belly might poke out. You know, we kind of gained like a couple of pounds from that harmonic density, so I used a Pro Q MB to hold things together.
Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na. Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na. Yeah. Ooh, na, na, na. Yeah. Ooh, na.
So generally, when you have R&B, you kind of want slower release times because the notes are more sustained. Ooh, ah, you know, there's more sustain to things. And usually when there's more sustain, you want more of a release time because you don't want the waveform to pump. You feel me? You want it to be like when you was a kid in the arcade playing with the claw machine and you grabbing on it, you want it to hold on to that toy rather than to let it drop instantly and lose it. All right. So that's what I was kind of imagining here when I was, applying the Pro MB onto the thing. All right. At that point, usually when it comes to getting vocals to blend or separate, a lot of times on my background vocals, I will use a completely different reverb from the reverb that was on the lead vocal because I don't want things to sound too plain. I don't want them to sound too vanilla. At this point in the song, it's already like 1:30. I want to introduce a new flavor, a new chocolate chip, a new crushed almond, a new pistachio cream to the flavor of the mix. It's kind of like a situation if you go to a restaurant, you have like a 3-course meal. You know, I'm introducing new flavors through every course, and now this stacked vocals a new plate, a new dish to the 3-course meal. So I find myself using this preset live Vox chamber. I actually fuck around and change it to Cathedral, and it's just a super short reverb that will allow us to distinguish this vocal stack from the rest of the shit because this vocal stack does not share the same reverb as the lead vocal. So we've already heard the lead vocal so far, at that point in the song. Now, okay, it's this bridging part. Okay, now let's give them a brand new reverb, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, then at that point, just to get things to be a little bit more wavy, ooh, you know, I added a chorus, and I feel like the chorus also gives a widening effect.
Yeah. Yeah. A little resistance, but just wait on me. Yeah. Yeah. Baby, don't.
So usually in my mixes, I will start using like a reverb on the actual, track itself when I want to separate shit. You know, when I want to glue something, I'll use the aux and share the reverb. I'll share the food, the candy amongst the kids. But when I want to separate, that's when I get to putting shit directly on the stuff by itself, you know? So that's a great way to blend and separate because if everything is blending, then nothing is blending, right? Okay. So then we have oxide tape, and this is more for texture. I'm using tape overdrive. I literally took the input and I smashed it into the tape and red lighting it just to really smoothen off that transient, get some of that saturation, that mid-range bump, and that natural tape compression. So this is like a counter move to the Pro MB because I lost mid-range, but I added it back right here. So it's a constant push and pull, you know?
A little resistance, but just wait on me. Yeah. Yeah. A little resistance, but just wait on me. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, and the last thing right here, just very basic, you know, it is going into the same aux to sound glued, but it was just a basic reverb throw. And pay attention to my color is different. So it's distinguishing this from this reverb, right, through the color mode. You know, one has a warm tone, the retro tone, and then more modern, brittly tone. So I just use that as a throw. And that throw is just transitioning us from this ooh, ah, to the hook again.
But just wait on me. Yeah. Yeah. Baby, don't be scared.
Okay, so that's just that little bit of a swelling, you know, just creating movement with inside the song, all right? So that's pretty much the end of the video here today, guys. I just want to say, you know, thank you very much for being a great part of my YouTube family. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Who's your favorite R&B artist? Let me know down below. And I just want to say I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check the links to support the channel. Peace.